Today, I asked Michelin-starred chefs to cook their own death row meal, the one meal they choose if it was their last on Earth. 4 chefs. One goes classic, one goes creative, and the others get expensive. We're starting with Chef Eric Ziebold, the mind behind 2 different Michelin-starred restaurants, cooking not one, but 2 dishes that he would end his life with. This video is sponsored by Klarna. Hey chef, if you could have one last meal before you die, what would it be?
Lobster French toast. These are Maine lobsters. They're about 3/4 cooked. We have them in hot water for about 90 seconds. And I'll put the claws back in there because they'll take a little bit longer if you want to be able to get the claw out. For the bodies, gently press down until it cracks and then reverse it and it'll come right out. To make the stock, we'll pull the hard shell off and then we'll take the innards out of that, take off the lungs from that. We're using the meat that we're gonna eat, obviously, and then we're using the shells to make the stock with, that'll be the sauce. So to make our lobster stock, we're gonna get a pot hot. We're gonna put a little bit of oil in there, just really enough to coat the bottom of the pot. And then we're gonna take all of our lobster bodies and put those in there. We're just gonna cook that out for about 45 seconds, just to give a little bit of a roasted character to the lobster bodies. Then we're gonna add some water to it. We wanna make sure it's submerged. The tarragon is for flavor. We're also gonna add a little bit of tomato to it. We'll bring that up to a simmer. We'll go 45 minutes. While we're cooking our lobster stock, we're gonna finish processing our lobster. The joint goes this way, so if you press it against the joint, you'll pop that out, and you can remove the bottom claw. And then I use the back of my knife. You wanna hit it just hard enough to break the shell, but not go all the way through it, not damage the meat. And then you can use your knife to pry that apart, and you get the claw.
Lobster claws, lobster tails.
And then what we call the lobster knuckle. You need some real heavy kitchen shears or poultry shears to be able to cut through that shell. To finish getting the lobster prepped, take the tail, we're gonna split it in half lengthwise. There's gonna be a vein that goes through there. We're gonna take that out. So like when you devein the shrimp, lobster's the same. This is personal preference. I'm gonna cut that into 3 pieces. So that way when we finish cooking it, it's gonna cook at the same speed. And then when we plate it, it'll be a little bit more consistent from that standpoint. So to make the sauce, after cooking the lobster stock, we strain that through a china cap and then a chinois to get all the particles out of it. And then we're gonna reduce that for hours to the point where that liquid is gonna start to get sort of brown and thick and real intense in flavor. So we're gonna bring that up to a boil. And we're gonna add butter until we get to the flavor that we want, which is also simultaneously gonna be the color we want. It should be just a little bit off butter color. So a little bit of tan to it, but not as dark as we're doing right now. Stir that until the butter is all emulsified into it. Make sure you taste it because the lobster tends to have a fair amount of salt. Sometimes we have to season the sauce, sometimes we don't, depending on how salty it is. I will put a little bit of lemon juice. Acid's gonna cut through that fat, so it brightens the dish up so you can sort of taste everything else. So we've got our lobster beurre blanc here, that we're gonna call that. We're gonna put 2 orders of lobster in there, make sure it's submerged, and then we're gonna put that on a very gentle heat. Right, we're gonna allow it to warm through. We'll give it a little stir, and when I'm doing that, I'm checking our temperature as well. It needs to be hot enough to finish cooking it, but shouldn't be bubbling. So I'm gonna start working on the garnish for the lobster French toast. So obviously we've taken the cucumber, peeled that, take out the seeds, and we're gonna cut little strips of it, and we're essentially gonna make little cucumber diamonds. Take that, and we're gonna mix it with maybe a splash and a half of rice vinegar, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of salt. And we're gonna let that marinate for about 20 minutes. And while that's marinating, I'm gonna get my persimmon, and we're gonna dice that as well. We're gonna mix that together. I'm gonna get the creme fraiche mousse that we're gonna put on the lobster French toast ready. We're basically gonna whip this just like you would if you were gonna make whipped cream. Now you can't do this with every creme fraiche. It's 80% butter fat in it, which makes it the same as cream, which is what allows you to whip it like you would whipped cream.
Any tips for the young chefs out there?
Taste. You know, you can read about something all day long, you know, on the internet or cookbooks and whatnot. You need to understand how flavor develops. And I think a lot of people, they're making a recipe and they go through and they start combining things, and then because you don't taste it as you go, if it doesn't work out, you don't have any idea where the error was. Put a little bit of salt in there, put a little bit of sesame oil in there. Now, oil actually works against the creme fraiche because it's a different type of fat, so don't add it all at once. When I take my whisk up through it, it actually stays and it doesn't move. So that's a nice stiff peak. Got some brioche here that we baked the other day. It's a lot richer, the Royale. basically half egg, half cream. And just mix that until it gets nice and smooth all the way through. Then we've got a Teflon saute pan. We're gonna put a little bit of oil in that. Now the good thing about the brioche is because it's very soft, it'll absorb that Royale very quickly. But give it a minute to make sure that all that gets soaked in there. It should be somewhat soft. We are almost there.
There we go.
Get a nice golden brown on the one side. You can put a little pat of butter in there. A, that butter will give you a little bit of flavor. B, it gives you a little bit of moisture as well. Right in the center of each dish. I put the claw down first, and then I put the third piece of the tail meat in the knuckle. Take some of that lobster butter. So this is the fuyu persimmon and cucumber that we marinated. A little bit of that brightness of cucumber and a little bit of that persimmon will do a lot to lighten the dish up. Then we're gonna take our sesame mousse that we made, a little sesame seed. Dish one of my last meal is the lobster French toast.
Wow, amazing. All right, chef, let's take it. Your last meal. Wow, there's so much flavor in that small bite.
It's about creating a lot of intensity by making that stock and reducing that down and getting a real rich, decadent lobster flavor.
Wow.
And then adding the other things to be counterbalances to that.
I can't wait for dish number 2.
All right, so the base for our longos is actually gonna be potato. So you take baked potatoes, and essentially we're gonna make a fried bread with it, or a dough.
How long does it take for the potatoes? You got like this?
About an hour and 15 minutes. We do 350 with a fan. We're gonna pass it through a tami. So essentially we're just pushing it through in order to make a potato puree. Essentially what we've done is make mashed potato powder. All right, so we're gonna start with our potato. We're gonna mix to the potato. We've got some salt, we've got some sugar, some flour. I'm gonna take some milk and a little bit of fresh yeast. I always temper the milk so it's almost room temperature. Then we're gonna gradually mix the flour into the potato. Then I add the milk to that. This part is gonna make it a little bit messy. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil to it. It all comes together as a dough. So what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of flour on my cutting board here, and then just sort of knead this more like you would knead a bread dough or pasta dough or something. We're gonna work that gluten a little bit, and this is one of those things you won't be able to see it on camera. By the time you finish kneading it, it should be very smooth and silky.
Culinary school, yes or no?
I mean, I think that there's a lot that can be gained from culinary school. The reality is nothing makes up for real world experience though. So it really depends on where you're at as a cook and who you are as a person, which is gonna work out better. All right, so here we are finishing up our canapes for our last supper. Just lightly flour the surface of whatever you're working with. Make sure your fingers are nice and floured as well. Keep turning it because it's gonna stick, but we're basically just gonna use our fingers to flatten this out to the consistency that we want. And you're gonna wanna go pretty thin with this because there is some yeast in it. It's gonna puff. When you can feel the cutting board through the dough, that's how you know that it's ready. It's not soft and squishy, it's almost hard because I can feel the dough. We'll punch out rounds, and we're gonna take the whole thing over to our fryer, drop those in, 350 degrees, so you'll see those start to puff up. They take about 90 seconds, and they should feel light and fluffy. That's how you know it's done. Take those out.
Oh my gosh, that looks amazing.
We're gonna sprinkle these with a little salt as well. So we got a little bit of smoked salmon. We take the pellicle off. You can go ahead and buy the salmon pre-sliced if you'd like. Get your knife wet, and it'll actually slide through a little bit easier. That way you get a nice even sheet like that.
Wow. Okay, we are putting together our smoked salmon.
We're gonna put a little dollop of Sadie's creme fraiche in here as well. So this is caviar d'Aquitaine. It's from the Aquitaine estuary, which is outside of Bordeaux. We're gonna take our longos that are now cooled a little bit. So we've got longos, which is our fried Hungarian flatbread, a little bit of smoked salmon, some Kendall Farms creme fraiche, and Berry caviar. So the way you wanna do to assemble it is take one of your longos, a little bit of creme fraiche, and then your choice of the salmon or the caviar, or both for that matter, and you got sort of a two-biter there.
What do you think, chef?
Stunning. Ready for another.
A little creme fraiche, generous amount of caviar. And chef, what do you think? A little smoked salmon on top?
Let's do it. Hold the caviar in place.
Oh my God, I love this bite.
You've got that warm, you've got cold, you've got crispy, you've got soft and decadent.
Well, chef, I know why he won a Michelin-star.
All right, thank you much.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, Chef Matt Baker here in Washington, D.C. Today we're doing my death row meal. We're gonna start off with kind of a tasty menu of some of my favorite dishes. Fried chicken, caviar with soft scrambled eggs, and then a surprise dish that I absolutely love.
So what's the first step here?
So we have our chicken. So these are gonna be really nice farm-raised chickens. So we're just gonna butcher these down to the legs and the thighs. These guys have head on, feet on. Kind of open it up here a little bit, peel the chicken back, find a joint here. Use your hand, you can see it comes naturally. And then all you're doing is following the backbone. We are gonna trim some of this extra fat off just so it's not too fatty. And then we're gonna take the leg off. Just like that.
So any reason why you chose fried chicken for a death row meal?
Honestly, I grew up on fried chicken. I love Popeyes. Obviously, we did a video together doing Popeyes Recreated. It's kind of like a childhood favorite of mine. My grandmother used to make really good fried chicken also, so very nostalgic for me.
Do you wash the chicken?
In this instance, I'm not washing it because I'm going to brine it. If I'm doing a roasted chicken, I don't wash it. I actually pat it dry with a cloth to dry it out so the skin gets crispy. If I'm searing it and doing like a braised chicken, I would wash that. So it just depends for me on the preparation.
So we have our chicken broken down. What are we doing now, Chef?
Now we're going to do a brine. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some 4%, 5% weight of salt to water. We're going to let this brine for a couple hours. It's just going to tenderize the chicken and make it really nice and flavorful, but also get a lot of salt inside of the chicken so that every bite is just really moist and juicy, but also seasoned very well. While we have the brine going, we're going to go ahead and start doing our dry breading for this. 2 parts Wonder flour, 3 parts AP flour, 1 part cornstarch. Cornstarch is what's going to help it get really, really crispy. It's a very dry flour, so it's going to really dry out the batter when we go to fry it. Low hydration, as we say. Baking powder. And last, we're going to do our spice mix. We have our scale out, some paprika. Next, we're going to do onion powder. So we don't want to do too much onion powder because there's sugar in the onion powder. We don't want that sugar to burn the fried chicken when we fry it. Onion powder tends to have a high sugar content. All right, garlic powder. This one we're going to be a little aggressive on, probably about 3 times the amount of the onion powder. Then we're going to do some dry oregano, dried thyme. We're using a scale for everything. Everything has to be very precise. Do some cayenne now. Give us some heat.
So what are the ratios of all the spices?
Ratio is pretty heavy on paprika, pretty heavy on garlic powder. Everything else is pretty nuanced and subtle after that. Last but not least, salt. Now we're mixing it. Now we're gonna move on to our wet mix for this. We're gonna do some eggs, and then we're also gonna do buttermilk, salt, and then our spice mix.
So why buttermilk not just regular milk?
It's a little more tart, so it gives it a little bit more flavor in it. Also clings a little bit better when breading, so those are the big reasons. Fat content of buttermilk is also higher, so it tends to probably add more color when you fry the fried chicken. So some salt in here. Then we're gonna get our spice rub again. Do some more of our spice rub in here. We are going to take some of our dry and some of our wet, and we're going to mix it together. So we want this to be as kind of clunky, because when you make the fried chicken, this is what's going to give it all those crispy nooks in the fried chicken.
Good tip right there, Joe. So you got any tips for any of the chefs out there that want to get a Michelin-star?
I don't know about any tips. You know, just cook authentic food that's true to yourself. That's what I always say. I think Michelin wants to see a true expression of the chef in every aspect of the restaurant and in every aspect of the meal, and they want to be authentic to that individual. So just be true to yourself, cook honest food, execute at a high level, and season well. I'm gonna go get the fried chicken now. Drain all the liquid from it. Chicken looks really nice.
Wow, look at that.
All right, so we're gonna go chicken into our dry breading, shake off excess, and into our wet. So this is what we're looking for here. We kind of like to push it in there.
So when you're cooking fried chicken in oil, how do you know when it's ready?
We're gonna do this in 2 stages. We're gonna do one stage at 315 for about 10 minutes. We're gonna pull it out, let it rest. Then we're gonna fry it again at 350 for about 3 minutes. That'll be the last double crunch. Kind of get that really crispy.
Oh, so you fry it twice.
Double fried. So this is after about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. See all the crunches on there?
Ooh, look at that.
Super crunchy, super crispy. That's what we want. It's gonna be great.
I can feel the texture in my mouth already.
Let's get the rest of this working. We don't want to overload the fryer either.
Why is that?
Number one, we don't want to lower the fryer temperature, but we also don't want it bumping into each other and interfering with the other chicken.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at that. We're gonna just keep these warm up top, and then we're gonna do a double fry in a second. Soft scrambled eggs are one of my favorite things of all time. So this is a truffle brioche that we make. We're gonna do some toast points for this.
Wow, you're going all out with like a little breakfast too.
Well, I mean, this is the last meal of the day, right? Last meal of life. Gotta make it count. I'm gonna start whisking my eggs here. So just good eggs. We're just gonna whisk these really well. You want these to be completely emulsified and with the egg whites and the egg yolks fully combined. That is important. Some salt. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna first get my truffle brioche. Butter in there. Try to pull that off the heat now. Pretty much done. Not a butter. So low heat pan. Really the goal is we're going to control the heat and we're just going to keep the eggs moving. We really don't want it to emulsify or to start cooking. We want this to be one texture.
Noticing you're taking it off the heat, on the heat.
Controlling the heat. So see, that's pretty much one smooth texture of egg, right? Butter in there. A little bit of creme fraiche. Take 3, 4, 5 seconds.
It almost looks like pudding.
Yeah, like custardy.
Delicious. Be our second fry at what temperature again?
It's going to be at 350. Spicy honey that we make. Spice rub that we made. Final part of the meal is we're going to make a smash burger. This is our Michelle smash burger, dry aged with koji.
Whoa, what is this?
This is a butter roller.
What?
So, you know, we have different sauces we do for different burgers. I'm just gonna go mayonnaise and ketchup. That's how I like it. And no lettuce, no vegetables. I'm ready to go to death row.
It's time to eat, Chef.
Let's do it. I've been convicted of the crime. It's my death row meal. Breakfast, soft scrambled eggs with caviar and toasted black truffle brioche. Lunch, double smash burger, extra American cheese, smothered onions, and Matt Baker's fried chicken with a spicy honey glaze.
Gee, let me die with you, bro. This looks amazing.
Let's do it. Eggs first?
Yeah.
All right, Danny, this first bite's for you. Some caviar in there. Bon appetit.
All right, first meal, death row meal. Let's get it.
Last meal. Good job keeping everything on there.
Wow. This is easily the best scrambled eggs I've ever had.
Good.
Seriously.
Love that. Thank you. Look at that bad boy.
Oh my God.
I'm getting in there.
So describe a smash patty burger. Like, why is this your last meal?
Everybody has memories of a child eating cheeseburger with American cheese. Smash burger has this great flavor, really caramelized meat, super rich, flavorful, but it's super simple with just the ketchup and the mayonnaise, so delicious.
Nah, I think we gotta eat the fried chicken together.
Let's go. Cheers.
All right, Chef, let's go.
Arms up.
Bro.
Sweet, tons of flavor, juicy, seasoned well.
I wish that people can enjoy this too. I feel like you gotta open a fried chicken restaurant now.
We'll see. Who knows?
You guys see it, how crunchy this fried chicken is? Oh my gosh.
The crunch is good.
And the layers of texture in there?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pop that dry batter, wet batter technique that you
Yeah.
just did.
All right.
Yeah. You dying happy now?
I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit in the chair.
All right, Chef, well thank you. I'll see you on the other side.
Goodbye.
This is the pork that we got it in last week. We rubbed it with Chinese 5 spice, so it's been sitting up here for the past 2 hours just to kind of get it a little more tempered, get a little bit of smoke on there. I'm gonna grab it off the hearth now.
What kind of cut is it?
This is a bone-in pork loin, so it's like a pork chop. So this is Kurabota pork. It's like a Japanese pork. So you can already smell that it's nice and smoky.
Cool. So how long has this been over the fire?
Now probably about 3 hours. It's probably still very much on the rare side, but it helped take out a little bit of that fat on the outside, render it out. It softens it up. It also helped the skin get a little crispy once it goes in the oven as well. So let's go load that thing up.
All right, let's do it.
The samocanado, it's like what my grandmother would make for me. Taking something that's like very kind of peasant, traditional home dish and making it more so ours, but pretty simple preparation. So the first thing we're gonna do is get our milk. So we're gonna bring that up to a boil, and then we're just gonna throw it over top of the bread. We're just gonna kind of mix in the milk a little bit just to get it a little more hydrated. We're gonna let it sit for about like 20 minutes. It'll be almost like a paste when we're done with it, because we're gonna add egg into it as well. I don't use a machine. We kind of just like to do it by hand, so you still get like the chunks of bread in there, just so it has some texture to it. Chopped up fine parsley and chervil just just to add to the mix. We'll let that sit. The next thing is that we're gonna add our onions. So we chop it up. You can see all the moisture coming out of it. We cure it with 50-50 salt and sugar, so it pulls out a lot of that liquid. So as soon as it hits this pan with the butter, it's just gonna cook until they're nice and translucent. Not looking for any caramelization. You can if you want. Not my preference for this.
What's the reality of working in a restaurant, though?
Balancing your life, just like any other job, right? Like you guys probably work like crazy, lawyers work like crazy, doctors work like crazy. Like you can have fun working in a restaurant, that's what I love, but I don't define myself by my job title, right? That's kind of where we're looking. Like it's just soft, translucent, still got like a lot of crunch to it. And you can see the liquid that came out, it kind of almost emulsifies the butter in.
What are we doing now, Chef?
We're gonna start combining it in. And you can see it's kind of like a really thick, almost like paste. If you wanted to do this in a KitchenAid with like a paddle, you probably could, but I don't want to beat it up too much. I'm also adding a little bit of breadcrumb in here just to keep it a little tighter. So now we're gonna form our canadles. So you can see it's fairly large. You can still see the whole chunks of bread. So it's got like some texture. The greatest part about this is like it'll just absorb more of that sauce that we'll finish on later. So when you're cooking this, you don't want to add flour into it. We don't want it to be dough. It's not, pasta. It is a bread dumpling. And then we're not gonna boil them. We're gonna poach them. So if you do it too hard, these things will just completely obliterate and like fall apart. So we're gonna go ahead and put them in the water. You can see like there's really no bubbles. It's just kind of really low and slow. Drop them in there.
What is poaching?
Poaching is just basically like the temperature. Like you can see that there's barely any bubbles. It's like a low temperature cook versus like a high temperature rolling boil. They don't take too long, 5 or 10 minutes, and then looking pretty good. Yeah, they're still kind of holding together. Probably got like another minute or two, just moving around, but they're getting there. They're not like the prettiest of things, but it's peasant foods.
All right, Chef, what are we doing?
All right, so it looks like our dumplings are good to go. Pull them out of the water and let them rest at room temp until we're ready to plate. So our pork is done. We're gonna cut this open, cut it down, and grab one of the center pieces. It's still very juicy.
Thank you, Chef.
We'll get a more reasonable slice there. So this is all the rendered out pork fat that has the 5 spice and all that, so it's super like roasted and caramelized. So we're just gonna brush the pork in its own fat, and then we're going to add some roasted kombu and like dried mushroom powder. So just let that kind of sink in. We're just gonna go ahead and throw that on the grill. So it is cooked all the way, but we just wanna get a little extra flavor on there. We always talk about like fire being the seasoning. Fire is like salt, so you can be too heavy, too light. It's all about the wrist.
Wow.
We're gonna take it off the bone and we're gonna slice it up, lay it right there on the plate. And one of the dumplings that we just kind of warmed up in a little bit of like the unreduced jus, so just right there. We'll get our stock, nice and juicy. A green oil that we make with lovage. It's like celery times 1,000, and just kind of makes sense with a lot of these like flavors and like the memories of it being, inspired by my Baltic grandmother. So a little bit of the kombu citrus salt just on top to finish it. My Latvian grandmother's recipe. So this is roasted pork, semolknedel, and chicken jus with lovage.
What a meal, look at that.
Yeah.
Going by a Michelin chef, Danny Spero. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's okay.
What? Dude, I can name 5 different layers of flavors I'm tasting through. This is crazy. You get more of that juice.
Yeah, it's like super simple.
Not super simple, but this is a great compliment.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Chef, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate your time today.
Now before we continue, I want to give a special thanks to Klarna for sponsoring this video. Besides having a great team and featuring great chefs, a lot of it really goes into the production. And that involves traveling, buying groceries, getting expensive ingredients, kind of like this king crab, or these king crabs. And that's why I wanted to talk to you guys real quick about Klarna. With the Klarna card, I can plan a big purchase like this and pay later when things like ad revenue or sponsors come in to help with the production costs. There's a lot of different ways I could have paid, but I personally like using the Klarna card because it's a debit card upgraded. So there's no credit impact to apply, and you can even earn up to 10% cash back on everyday purchases made through the Klarna app. On top of all that, there's no annual fees. So if you're interested, check out the link in my bio and you can sign up for the Klarna card today. You can download the Klarna app through your phone. And there's a couple different features I actually want to show you guys. Let's say you want to plan a trip and you want to stay at an Airbnb. There's this button here, Pay with Klarna, at the very bottom. So we're going to click that. This is our debit flex card, and I want to plan a purchase. So let's say that I want to spend $500 for an Airbnb. I can select a plan for me. So let's say I was to book this out and make 3 payments at $169, I can go ahead and click this. So that's one way to use Klarna. Another way you can use Klarna is actually using the Klarna card to plan a purchase later. So with us, we have a lot of big purchases, and sometimes that's the king crab, for example, and that costs around $500. I'll go ahead and plan for this. And what's different, I actually signed up for the Plus member. So what you'll see is here, I have 0% interest and a $0 service fee. So I'm gonna go ahead and press this. And once I confirm my plan, you'll see here, I pay $125 up front, and then I pay the rest of the payments every 2 weeks. No service fee, no interest if I pay in full through the Klarna card as a Plus member. Now I wanna show you guys actually different types of memberships. Like I said, I am a Plus member. I'm paying $8 a month, but that $8 gets offset because I make so many of these purchases that we plan for our videos. So really for me, the biggest features that help me with the Plus membership is that I can skip all the service fees and save up to $3 per purchase. The other feature I really like is the 1% cash back when I pay in full with my Klarna balance. So things like some quick grocery store runs where I'm buying little ingredients here and there and not big purchases that I want to plan within the app to be able to pay later. Some other features that I like about the Plus tier membership are getting a physical card and a virtual card. So I can use the Klarna card wherever Visa is accepted and not just wherever virtual payments are accepted. I can earn a 3.22% APY on my Klarna balance on top of the cashback I earn for when I use the card as a debit card. So this is a really good way to better manage my finances and build healthy financial habits. Here's another membership that's one tier below at $349 a month and some of the perks. There's also a free version available too, so I definitely encourage you guys to download the app and check it out as there's no credit impact to apply. So thanks again to Klarna for sponsoring this video, and check out the link in the description below for more information.
My name is Chef Daniel from New, and for my death row meal, we're gonna make king crab fried rice.
What are we gonna do with it, Chef?
We're just gonna pop them in the steamer for about 20 minutes here. We're about to take the king crab out of the steamer. Big boy. Now that our king crab is cooked and cooled, we're gonna break them down. We'll use that later.
Wow.
All that crab butter and liquid we'll save for later.
Crown of the king crab right here.
Knock off the leg here. The leg. Want to try some?
Ooh, I love that. Wow.
We got our king crab leg here.
What made you want to pick this as your death row meal?
If I'm dying, I'm going out like a king.
What are we gonna make?
A little bit of king crab stock for our sauce. Once the butter gets hot, we'll throw in the shallots and garlic. We'll sweat them off until they're nice and aromatic. Then we'll take these shells here. We'll roast them off in the pan here.
It's a rich sauce right there, Chef.
Yes. I want to die a rich man, you know? Just adding a little bit of water to make the crab stock. I'm going to throw a tab of butter in here. Sweat these off again. Garlic. Dab of thyme. Good. Been about 5-10 minutes here. So now we're going to strain it over to our other pan.
Wow.
We're going to cook this until it's nice and all set. Let's put some more of that crab butter all salt in there also. Cook it down the stock so it's super nice and tight. And then in this pan right here, we got the brown butter, yuzu, soy, lime juice. Our king crab legs will live in there, be nice and warmed up and living in a butter bath.
All right, Chef, what are we doing now?
All right, so we took our king crab legs, lightly throw them in that warm butter sauce, and then let them hang out in there. So we're just gonna let this hang out in nice warm butter here.
Okay, so what's the key to making a good fried rice, Chef?
Nice hot wok. A little bit of drier rice. Day-old rice works the best. So we got day-old rice, king crab meat that's from the body, and then the crab liquid. First, we're gonna season our wok so it's nice and hot. Garlic. Now, we're gonna fold in our crab meat here. Yep, crab meat in the wok. A little bit of green, a little bit of fish sauce. Don't forget a little bit of magic. Chicken powder. I'm gonna bring it over here. Doing like a nice, soft scrambled egg on top with more king crab. A little bit of fish sauce. A little bit of butter doesn't hurt, right? We got our eggs here. Now it's time to plate up. King crab fried rice in and out. All right, we're going back to that pot with the delicious king crab legs inside. More crab on top. That yuzu, brown butter, soy emulsion on top here. So we're just gonna make it super luscious. There you have it. I just made my death row meal, king crab fried rice.
All right, Kev, you got to dig in. Yo, look at the sides of this leg though, real quick. A little cross section. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Nothing else to it. Let's dig in.
Let's dig in.
Let's try your death row meal.
Cheers. I'm dying happy.
You know, honestly, I'll die with you with this. That fight is sensational. Chef, 10 out of 10?
Died like a king.
Oh, black truffle too.
Not like I'm not happy.
The world's most expensive fried rice right here.
The whole king crab alone was $500.
How much would you charge for this dish though, Chef?
Probably like 200, 300.